Alwars. The Alwars were Vaishnava saints, devotees of Krishna. They were 12 in number, and briefly their names. Alvar is a word which literally means one who is immersed in bhakti, one who knows the depth of the faith, and by delving deep has brought out the treasures hidden in the bowels of the earth. They were 12 in number, and they might have lived between 9th and 12th century BC. Their works were composed by Natha Muni, another saint, and their works are known as Nalayira Divya Prabandham. Nalayira in Tamil means 4,000. So 12 Alvars. And some time back we learnt about the 63 Nayanmars who are the Shaivite saints. Now, briefly, their names are Poigai Alvar. Poigai Alvar, he was the eldest of all the Alvars, born in Kanchipuram, and was found on a fully blossomed lotus tinged with a golden hue. And some details I will briefly read out for you. And due to his birth in a Poigai, that means a pond, he was called Poigai Alvar in Tamil, and Kasar Yogi or Sarovara Munindra. Kasara Yogi or Sarovara Munindra in Sanskrit. Nothing is known about his parents, nor why they left the baby on the lotus in the middle of a pond. And in Tamil Prabandha, he is known as Ayonija. He mastered Vedic lore, including the existing treatises of his day, in no time, and he strove to translate into easy Tamil for accessibility and ready comprehension for the general public. And he was a great reformer. And in those days, it was decreed that non-Brahmins were forbidden to approach and touch them even. So he brought about a sea change in the thinking of people, and he was one of the greatest reformers of the time. Bhutanatha Alvar, next one, Bhutanatha Alvar. So Bhutanatha Alvar comes from Mahabalipuram, and some details from his life. He was born one day after Poigai, and so he was younger than Poigai Alvar. Name Bhutanatha signifies the soul, and he signifies that he was the master of his soul, and he owned a comprehensive insight into the highest God, Vishnu, and learnt all about his tattva along with his nature of the soul, and that's why he was called Bhutanatha Alvar. He was the Lord of the souls. Peyalvar is the next one. Vishnu Bhakta, very fond, was also found like his predecessors in a pond of a red lotus. So, and he was variously called Mahadahavaya and Mayalappa Puradhipati. Mayalappa Puradhipati, and immersed in singing devotional songs to the total oblivion of his surroundings, and moving about very scantily dressed, almost like a lunatic, and so he was called Peyalvar. So next was Tirumala Isai Alvar. Tirumala Isai Alvar. And he was found in a bamboo bush and left by a sage and his wife, and near Mahisharapuram, the present Tirumalaisai town. The basket maker brought him home, and his wife Padmavalli brought him up. And he was indeed Lord Mahavishnu's Sudarshana. He is considered to be an incarnation of Sudarshana. He authored Nanmugan Prabandha, which is an immortal work and is occupying a very important place in Bhakti literature, Tirumalisai Alvar. Kulashekara Alvar. Now he was a king of Kerala, and you know the famous so he was the author of the famous Mukundamala. He was a king, but he was such a great devotee. He gave the kingdom away to his son and spent all his time. serving Vishnu Bhaktas. And his immortal work is Mukundamala and Perumal Tirumoli. Tondarapodi Alvar. He was also known as Vipranarayana Tondarapodi, and he was born in a village by name Tirumannargudi, and he dedicated his whole life to Ranganatha. And movies have been made also. Vipranarayana in Telugu, there was a movie where ANR acted as Vipranarayana. Tondarapodi Alvar. One song I remember is Pachama Malaiponi. Pachama Malapol Meni. It's a lovely song. Tirupani Alvar. Tirupani Alvar is the next name. He was born in Urayur under the star Rohini. He was a devotee of Ranganatha again. And he was known as Yogi Vahana because he was being carried by priests. So Tirumangai Alvar is the next name, and his story is also interesting. It is considered that he is an incarnation of Saranga, or the sacred bow of Krishna or Vishnu. His wife's name was Kumudavalli. He engaged himself in obstructing the passers-by and used to secure all their wealth, like a robber, like Valmiki. Once, when Lord Ranganatha appeared before him in disguise, they did the same act by stopping to steal his wealth and jewels. God, pleased with his act, showed himself to him and taught him the Ashtakshara mantra. He sang Periya Tirulmori and Tirun Kuruntan Dakam. So my Tamil is not so good. So Tirunendum Tandakam, it's another great work of Bhakti literature. And Periya Tirumori is the longest place of Tirumori Prabandha. Just as 6 tangas written into the Vedas, so also these 6 pieces are the 6 tangas of the Tirunanmori of Nammalvar. Parankusha Muni or Nammalvar. Lord Narayana, who noticed that the world was fully corrupted by Tamoguna, ordered his Senanayaka to be born in Bhulokam as Nammalvar. So Nammalvar was born in the village of Kurukapuri in Tirunelveli district, and he became a famous devotee, and he inspired millions. He is also known as Shatagopa Muni, since he drove out the Andhakara from the minds of man through his songs of Tiruvanmuri. He is also known as Parasnakusha Muni and Vakulabharanam. And on the order of Ranganatha, Nammalvar sang the Samaveda. On the order of Ranganatha, Nammalvar sang the Samaveda in 1,000 songs as Tiruvanmuri in Tamil in accordance with the poetical rules. He also sang Tiruvandadhi, Periya, Tiruviruthan and Tiruvasiriam. Next name is Madhurakavi Alvar. Madhurakavi Alvar. Vainateya took the incarnation of this Alvar in the village of Tirukkollur in Tirunalveli district. So he lived for some time in the northern part of the country and was attracted by the lustrous appearance of Nammalvar in the south, and he became a disciple of Nammalvar. And his contribution to the Divya Prabandham is the Kanninum Sirutambu, in which he has sung only about his Lord Nammalvar, Madhurakavi Alvar. Periyalvar, Lord Garuda, took his birth as Periyalvar in Sri Villupattur. His nakshatra is Swati in the Jyeshta mantra, and from his childhood he was very much devoted to Lord Narayana, and he spent his time exclusively tending to a flower garden, using the flowers for worship. And he was childless, but was blessed with an Ayonija Andal. It was only through her Vishnu Chitta, only through her that Vishnu Chitta attained his glory in the field of Alwars. So Periyalvar was also known as Vishnu Chitta. Periyalvar Tirumori is his Prabandham to the Lord, which begins with Tirupallandu, which is sung mainly to pray and to protect the Lord and the Lord's devotees and Divya Idhas from all evils also. Andal. Sri Bhudevi took birth as Andal in Sri Villuputtur with an extreme, by birth, devotion to Ranganatha. Periyalvar adopted Andal as his daughter. One day, Periyalvar was watering the flower garden as usual, and he found this most beautiful female child under a tulsi plant, whom he carried home because he was childless and brought her up. And Andal's nakshatra is Purva Falguni in the Adi month. Um, and Andal was a great devotee, and it is believed she also sang songs, and she decided to marry only Ranganatha. And Natha Muni, Ranganatha Muni was a native of Vipranarayanapuram, modern Mannargudi, and he was believed to be a yogi who lived for 500 years. So that's a very amazing kind of record of Natha Muni or Ranganatha Muni. So he was known as Natha Muni in the Vaishnava circle, and he seems to have initiated the collection of hymns of Alwars. He was well versed in Sanskrit and Tamil and a Siddha, adept in yoga. And he also composed a work on logic, Nyaya Tattva, and a work on yoga, Yoga Rahasya. Only a few extracts are given by Venkatanatha in Nyaya Siddhanjanam, otherwise, the two works have been lost. So, this is briefly a discussion of the Alwars.